Hello and welcome to the Explainer. Today we're jumping right into a topic that's got a lot of people scratching their heads: SEO, in the age of AI. If you feel like the ground is constantly shifting under your feet and the old rules just don't apply anymore, trust me, you are definitely not alone. For the longest time, we all played by a certain set of rules. Keywords, backlinks, we thought we had it all figured out. But now, with powerful AI entering the scene, that whole playbook has pretty much been tossed out the window. And the result? Honestly, it's chaos. Strategies that used to be a sure thing now fall flat. It feels like we're all just guessing. But what if there's a better way? A logical, structured way that's built for the future. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at why search is in a bit of a crisis. Then, we'll explore the semantic solution and walk through a really practical workflow. After that, we'll see how this all sets you up perfectly for AI. And finally, we'll talk about a whole new way to think about your website. Right, let's get to the heart of the problem. The source for today's explainer, Blog Semantic, has this great term for it: the semantic gap. It's this huge disconnect between how we, as humans, think and how computers have traditionally handled information. This analogy from our source just nails it. I mean, picture a massive library where all the books are sorted by how big they are. Sure, it's technically organized, but it's completely useless if you're trying to find a book about, say, astronomy. For a long time, that's pretty much how search engines work. See, the gap comes from this difference right here. Lexical search, that's the old way. It just matches the exact letters in a word. It sees bank, and it matches bank. But semantic search, the new reality, it gets the meaning, the context, the intent behind your search. It knows you're looking for a concept, not just a random string of characters. And this is the exact point where the old model just completely falls apart: ambiguity. Our source is from Brazil, so they use the perfect example: the word banco in Portuguese. It could mean a financial bank, or it could mean a park bench. For a person, the context makes it obvious. But for a machine just matching keywords, it's a total coin flip. Solving this problem is exactly what semantic SEO is all about. So if that's the problem, how do we possibly bridge that gap? Well, the solution is a huge shift in thinking. From just focusing on words to understanding the ideas behind them. The answer is to stop obsessing over keywords and start focusing on entities. An entity is just a well-defined thing: a person, a place, a brand, an idea. So instead of just targeting the phrase, how to get to the bank, you build content that fully covers the concepts of financial institutions, how to get directions, and maybe even how to open an account. The goal isn't to rank for one term, it's to become the go-to authority for the whole topic. And you know where this insight came from? The author of our source material, Alexander Rodriguez Silva, had this aha moment while he was studying library science. He realized that the very same principles librarians have used for centuries to organize physical knowledge are the perfect way to organize digital information for today's search engines. This quote captures the new philosophy perfectly. You're not trying to game the system anymore. You're not trying to trick an algorithm. Instead, you're becoming its partner, a curator. You're structuring your information so clearly that you're actually helping the algorithm understand what your content is truly about. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? This isn't just some vague idea. The Blog Semantico lays out a super clear, methodical plan called the Semantic Workflow, or FTS. And this is a complete strategy, a blueprint for making your content perform in modern search. This workflow is our map. First, you do a deep dive to understand the entire field of knowledge you're in. Then, you create a controlled list of all the important terms. Step 3 is where you organize all those concepts and define how they relate to each other, kind of like a librarian creating a card catalog. And only then do you actually create content that fits into this beautiful, clean structure. Finally, you use structured data to put little signposts on everything for the search engines. And what's so powerful about this is that you end up with real, tangible assets. You get a domain report, a controlled vocabulary, a taxonomy. These aren't just one-off SEO documents. They become the internal knowledge graph that guides your entire content strategy for years to come. Now, let's connect the dots. Let's see why this incredibly structured, almost academic approach is actually the perfect strategy for the new world of AI search. This is where it all clicks. It comes down to this key idea, RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. To stop AI models from just making stuff up, what people call hallucinating, they first have to go find facts from a trusted source before they give you an answer. And guess what makes the perfect, verifiable, trusted knowledge base? A semantically organized website. On top of that, as Blog Semantico explains so well, a modern AI doesn't just take your question and run with it. It does something called a query fan-out. It breaks your one big question into a whole network of smaller sub-questions. And if your website is built on a rich semantic structure, well, you've already answered all those little questions, making you the most comprehensive source out there. I mean, the difference here is just night and day. Traditional keyword-based content is unreliable. It might only answer one piece of a complex question. But semantic content, it's a factual, verifiable source. It answers questions holistically. And because it's so easy for an AI to understand and parse, it has a way higher chance of actually being cited. It's just built for this new world. This brings us to the final, and I think the most transformative idea behind this whole strategy. It's about completely changing how you see your own website. The father of library science in India, S.R. Ranganathan, said this decades ago. He wasn't talking about websites, of course, but he might as well have been. A website shouldn't just be a static thing. It should be a living, breathing, growing body of knowledge. This really puts the choice in front of us. Is your website just a messy pile of documents hard for both users and AI to make sense of? Or is it a curated library of structured knowledge? In that world, SEO stops being a technical chore, and it becomes the art of curating knowledge. And look, this isn't just a nice theory. It actually works. The source material, Blog Semantico, is packed with articles and case studies showing this approach gets lasting results. We're talking about sites where the traffic continues to grow for years, even after the active SEO work is stopped. That's because they built a true foundation of meaning. So it all comes down to this question. Are you building a simple file repository, or are you building an organized library of knowledge that's ready for the future? That shift in mindset from just being a publisher to becoming a curator is what's going to define who wins in the new era of AI search. Thanks for watching.